Hello and welcome. Live from Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. You're watching Newsroom series. I'm Dominic Iwiwa, and today our focus will be on the northwestern region. But before we get into that, let's have a look at our top stories making rounds at the moment. The president of the National Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman, has stated that the allowance adjustments for doctors, which was agreed upon from the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed with the federal government following its 29-day strike in November 2025, is yet to be reflected in the 2026 budget. The NARD president, while speaking on our program, Sunrise Daily, says he is hopeful that the previously agreed understanding will be implemented to revert the looming strike, which is set for January 12, 2026.
We've been following up on all the issues that we agreed in the Memorandum of Understanding signed on 27th November last year. You have to understand that these issues have been there for a while. These issues are not new. These issues actually affect or point at the heart of healthcare service delivery. So what you have in Nigeria is that whenever basic salary is affected, maybe by a minimum wage change, we have an existing agreement with the federal government that it should translate and also affect allowances. But since 2019, all the minimum wage adjustments that affected basic salaries never affected any of the allowances. And at the end of the day, there were a series of agitations that eventually led to our strike last year. And then the federal government released the professional allowance table. And we agreed on implementation. It's captured in the circular release. That one, instead of the 7 years arrears, we're only going to get 18 months. We accepted that. And then implementation will start from this month, this January. Unfortunately, after we signed and agreed, that has not been captured in the budget. In fact, payment of this correction, because you were earning 45 to 60% of your salary, of your allowances before, now it has been corrected. This January, it is yet to be captured in the salary. What we are now saying is that since we agreed in that MOU, Ministry of Health, communicate these chief executives, communicate with IPPIs through a letter. It's just a letter that this is what the head of service has determined. But that is not being done. And we are complaining, and then the complaints are landing on deaf ears. I hope they will impute all of these things in the 2026 budget so that January 12th will not happen.
Troops of 6th Brigade Nigerian Army and Sector 3 Operation Wellstroke have foiled a kidnapping attempt and rescued 3 victims in a swift intelligence-driven operation conducted in Taraba State. The operation was carried out on the 5th of January 2026 following the receipt of credible intelligence report by troops of 6th Brigade deployed at Jeb town, indicating the presence and activities of suspected kidnappers in Sangai village, Bachama ward of Karim Lamido local government area. A statement by the Brigade Public Relations Officer, Lieutenant Umar Mohammed, says, on sighting the advancing troops, the kidnappers abandoned their captives and fled into the surrounding area. Consequently, troops successfully rescued Nimron Umar, 25 years old, Abba Faras Ibrahim, 20 years old, and Habila Yunusa, 23 years old. The rescued victims are currently in military custody where they are receiving necessary care and documentation, after which they will be reunited with their respective families. Now, bandits armed with dangerous weapons have reportedly invaded several communities in Katsina State, abducting several persons during coordinated night attacks. Eyewitnesses told Channels Television on a telephone call on Tuesday that the attacks took place on Monday night, first in Unguwa Alhaji Barao, Gidon Dame Gizo, and Gidon Hazo communities, all located in Naalma ward in Malumfasi local government area of the state. The exact number of abducted persons remains unclear. The fresh attack is barely 4 months after an attack on a mosque in Ungua Mantau community in Malumfasi local government area of Katsina State. It's reported that the suspects opened fire on worshippers, killing at least 32 people. Malum Fashi remains one of many security frontline local governments councils in Katsina, where bandits invasion have been on the increase despite peace agreements recently entered between the local authorities and armed groups operating in the area. Now, the abduction of 26 girls from Government Day Secondary School Maga in Danko Wasago local government area of Zuru Emirate led to the temporary closure of schools in the state. Following the directive of Governor Nasir Idris to reopen schools, the Ministry of Education invites principals in the Kebbi South region to a closed-door meeting where security agencies offer them tips to ensure safety of students and staff. As the Kebbi State government reopens schools, parents and students remain hopeful for improved security and a safe, conducive learning environment.
Lord, the parents to be at ease and to be confident that the schools are secured for learning. So let the parents bring back their wards to school as the situation of security in schools is highly improved. So this is also a clear demonstration of His Excellency's commitment to improving the education in Kebbi State.
Now, Kaduna State is set to witness improved security outcomes in the year 2026, and that's according to the State's Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Dr. Sule Shuaibu. The Commissioner also commended Governor Uba Sani for what he describes as a significant budgetary allocation to the ministry aimed at strengthening the security architecture across Kaduna State, while assuring government's commitments to protecting lives and property. Speaking in an interview with Channels Television, the Commissioner assures that residents of Kaduna State will enjoy a more secure environment in 2026, just as they experienced last year, attributing the gradual return of peace and rapid infrastructure development to the government's strategic approach to internal security, combined with strong political will.
Kaduna State is a place now that you can say we have quite a reasonable peace. And then in 2026, I must let you know that with what we have had so far, there must be improvement by the special grace of God this particular year. If you look at the budget that His Excellency has signed, we, in the Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, we have quite a huge amount of money allocated to the security sector for us to ensure that the gains that we have achieved in the year 2025 is maintained and, of course, surpassed. So much so that this year, I am sure that most people will begin to see the dividends that we all yearn for in terms of security. Without peace, without security, you cannot talk about infrastructural development. The infrastructural development that His Excellency has achieved so far is because of the peace and social cohesion that he has achieved in the year 2025. And this we hope to sustain in the year 2026. Of course, economic-wise also, if there is no peace, you cannot see economic development. I want to assure the people of Kaduna State that the focus, the gains that we have achieved also in 2025 will also be increased upon in the year 2026.
The Katsina State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has reassured the good people of the state of its commitment to combating drug abuse and trafficking. The mission, according to the command, however, requires collective efforts, requesting for more synergy to make Katsina a safe haven. The command believes that through information sharing, advocacy, and community policing, drug offenses can be reduced and peace can be preserved. The state commander of the agency, Samaila Malam, disclosed this on Tuesday during the end-of-the-year press conference to highlight the command's achievements in 2025, which coincides with the decoration ceremony of some promoted officers of the command, elevated to various ranks. He recalled that in 2025, operatives of the command, after embarking on intelligence-led raid operations and patrols, arrested several individuals involved in various drug-related offenses, resulting in significant seizures and disruption of illicit drug networks across the state.
In 2025, operatives of NDLEA Katsina State Command, after embarking on intelligence raid-led operations and patrols, have arrested several individuals involved in various drug-related offenses, resulting in significant seizures and disruption of illicit drug networks across the state. Here are the details. Number of persons arrested based on gender in the year under review. Male, 992 suspects. Female, 26, which brings to a total of 1,018. Types and quantity of substances seized. Under the substances, we have cannabis sativa, where we arrested 1,667.747 kg, which is equivalent to about 1.6 tons. Codeine, 12.248 kg. Psychotropic substances, 793.66 kg. Grand total of 2,472,755 kg, which is equivalent to 2.4 tons.
The Katsina State government is committing to ensure efficient service delivery that will cripple corruption in the state. The State Commissioner for Water Resources, Mr. Bashir Gambo, made this known at the second summit of a statewide sensitization program in commemoration of this year's International Anti-Corruption Day held at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua University, Katsina Auditorium.
This is the second summit of a statewide sensitization program in commemoration of the International Anti-Corruption Day. It was put together by the Katsina State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission to educate students and youths on the growing dangers and consequences of examination malpractice and cybercrime.
As a commission, we recognize that the fight against corruption goes beyond investigation and enforcement. Prevention through awareness, education, and value orientation remains a critical pillar of our mandate, especially among students who are future leaders and change agents. Last year's theme was the first of its kind in the state, where our focus was on cybercrime and anti-corruption awareness. Building on that foundation, the Commission has this year deliberately turned its attention to students and youths, particularly in view of the growing dangers and consequences of examination malpractice.
In 2025, 30 university students were convicted for cybercrime in Katsina State, and the Chief Judge, Justice Musa Danladi, calls for serious, sober reflections in view of the pandemic nature of corruption in the country.
The world has become so corrupt in so many ways, but ours in Nigeria is the worst of all corruptions. When you talk of exam malpractices, it's even justifiable. Now, if you don't have these students, they will be left behind. It is a society that is being left behind. You cheat them, you cheat in the exam, you support it, you produce leaders who are already cheated.
The Katsina State Commissioner for Water Resources, Mr. Bashir Gambo, represents Governor Diko Rada at the event, and his charge to attendees of the summit is that good governance is not just about policies and projects, but building character, discipline, and ethical leadership.
Distinguished participants, my administration remains fully committed to promoting transparency, accountability, and efficient service delivery across all sectors of governance in Kaduna State. We believe that good governance is not just about policies and projects, but about character, discipline, and ethical leadership. That is why we continue to strengthen institutions, support anti-corruption agencies, and encourage partnership with civil society, the judiciary, security agencies, and the academic community.
One of the highlights of the ceremony is the formal presentation of the Award of Excellence for Public Accountability and Efficient Service Delivery to the Katsina State Governor by civil society organizations.
You're watching Newsroom series live on Channels Television. Still ahead right after the break, workers in Kaduna State resume after the Christmas and New Year holidays. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now we head over to Kaduna State, where workers today resumed duties after the long Christmas and New Year holidays, returning to offices with renewed hope and expectations for the new year. Our correspondent reports that while attendance was encouraging, workers are calling for improved welfare and better working relationship with the government than in previous years.
It's a busy day across government offices in Kaduna State as workers resume work after the festive break. At the State Secretariat, the houses, many ministries, departments and agencies of government, civil servants arrive early, signaling readiness to begin the new work year. Many workers describe the long holiday as refreshing and work resumption as smooth, though some offices record moderate attendance as the day progressed.
Christmas holiday was excellent for us because I spent it with my family. Though we traveled to the village and met the children were able to see their grandparents. So it was all joy for us all together. We thank God even when the economy seems to be biting, but God was able to give us all it takes to be able to make it successful for us.
We are expecting so much on the government, like our welfare for workers, then stability in insecurity, then so many things.
Beyond resumption, workers bear their expectations high from the government, just as they commend the state governor, Senator Obasani, for early payments of their salaries that made the celebrations of the festive season memorable.
The state government has been trying their best by giving us the necessary things to discharge our duties diligently. And we pray His Excellency Governor Obasani, Senator Governor Obasani, will do more in the area of improving the welfare and the living of civil servants in Kaduna State.
Unlike, let's say, some previous 5, 7, 6 years that during this kind of years, festivities, people will be in tension. It was peaceful and it was fine.
Workers across Kaduna State remain optimistic that the new year will bring positive changes, not only at the workplace, but also in the overall economy and society.
Now, in its bid to boost the digital economy of northwestern Nigeria, the National Information Technology Development Agency, in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, is working to create a digital ecosystem. At a roundtable meeting in Kano, the group focuses on building what works for northern Nigeria's innovation ecosystem. Our correspondent Abubakar Salihu reports.
For anything in return. I think it's something.
Gathered here to brainstorm on building a viable digital ecosystem for northwestern Nigeria are entrepreneurs, innovators, academics, the private sector, financial institutions, and representatives of relevant government agencies. The aim of the gathering is to boost the digital economy of the region by mentoring innovators on how to commercialize their ventures.
About bringing ecosystem players, policymakers, regulators, innovation hubs, and every other stakeholder of the innovation ecosystem onto a round table to create a safe space where we can have a conversation on what is working, what is not working, and what needs to change.
Kano State has pledged to propagate information technology to all the 44 local government areas of the state.
Part of what we are working towards in Kano in 2026 is the unveiling of the digital transformation, digital literacy and digital skills across all the 44 local governments, including the Kano State workforce.
NDLEA, however, expresses optimism that the digital ecosystem will allow the region to contribute its quota to national economic growth.
From NDLEA, we have our strategic roadmap and action plan, which is clear on what we intend to do from 2024 to 2027. So for the innovation ecosystem, we have human capital development, where we focus on talent building. And for you to innovate, you need to have both the hard and soft skills, which we have many initiatives we are implementing across the country, like Idea Hatch and Ignite Her. These are initiatives we are implementing that empower our youth with the skills and talent they need.
Infotech experts believe a viable digital ecosystem would allow the Northwest region to key into global innovation market.
We don't have a lot of time, but the president in this government has done a lot of projects in Kano State, which I cannot within the short time mention it, but we are proud of it and we are appreciative of it.
Elsewhere in Kano, the All Progressives Congress has organized a rally to upload the achievements of Tinubu administration to national growth. Abubakar Salihu, Channels Television News.
And that's where we drop the anchor on this edition of Newsroom series. I'm Dominic Iwiu. Enjoy the rest of your day.